Now, in the previous video, we discussed about the need for data validation and what are the options we have for data validations. In this, we will be looking into some practical examples. Now, if you look at this employee record, and this is the list which we are going to fill up and restrict the user with certain validations. And the validations which we are going to apply are these validations, which you can see. Now, number one, the employee name should be at least 3 characters long. So that is the validations we are going to apply here. Secondly, departments should be selected from the list. So I'll have a list from where I should select the department. Outside that, it's not allowed. Then from here, we'll say job should be selected from the list. So this also we have a list from where we'll be selecting it. Salary should be greater than equal to 5,000 and less than equal to 10,000. In other words, the salary should be between 5,000 and 10,000 inclusive. Bonus percentage should be between 5 to 10%. Married, the person should be either yes or no, nothing more than that. So you will give a drop down here, which from where you can either select yes or no. And hire date should be less than equal to the current date. And employee ID cannot be duplicate. So if whatever employee ID if I've already entered 7369, if I try to enter 7369 again, that is not possible. So there are around 8 validations, and on different columns, we have put these validations. So let's apply and see how it works. So let's do the first one. The first one is this one, right? Employee name should be at least 3 character long. So I'll select this because this is the column on which we are going to apply. And then we'll go to the data validation, okay? And we'll go to the settings. And here we'll say text length should be greater than or equal to 3. So it says that employee name should be at least 3 character long. So text length greater than or equal to 3. So if it's anything less than 3 characters, it will throw an error and say okay. So this is applied only to this range which is selected. So whatever selected range you have selected, on that only this validations will apply. Please don't accept it to be applied to entire sheet, because in the entire sheet you're not just entering employee names. There are so many things you are going to enter. So the one which you have just selected, if you have just selected one cell, it will apply to that one cell. If you have selected the entire column, it will apply to entire column. If you have selected 2 or 3 columns, then it will apply to all the 2-3 columns. If you selected the entire sheet, then the entire sheet, that rule will be applied. So it's all on your selection. So when you are opening this data validation, what was your selection? Of course, then you can copy this validations to some other cell, that is okay. But initially, whatever selection you make, it will apply to those. So it is only applied to this cell. It won't apply to this range, right? This will only apply to this range. So having said that, I'll say okay. Now I go to the employee name, right? And employee name, I try to enter EW. Says the value doesn't match the data validation restricted defined for this cell. So either you need to say retry or cancel. So if you say retry, you go back. But still, if you enter outside, it will say okay. Still, it doesn't allow you to enter. Right? It says retry. So I say cancel. So when I cancel, it will take me back to the original value which it was. Right? So that is the message. Now, if you want your custom message to come, so when you're entering this cell, you want certain messages to be displayed to the user. In that case, what you need to do? You need to click on the data validation again. So you need to select the cells. So you need to select all of them. Go to data validation and go to the input message. And here you say, just say a data validation, kind of a title here. And then you give the input message. Now, what is the input message you want to give? Employee name should have at least 3 characters. And say okay. Now see, the moment you enter this cell, it gives you prompts you. That's cool, right? So the user knows that there is a data validation. Employee name should have at least 3 characters. So still now, if this person is giving 2 characters, you'll get that error. Now this error also I can manipulate, and I can change this error and give a custom message. So I'll say retry, and again I'll select this. Okay, I'll say cancel. Again I'll select this, go to my data validation. Now go to the error alert, and say data validation invalid employee name, something which is more meaningful, and say okay. Now if I go here and I give 2 characters and say enter, so it gives me my message, invalid employee name. Retry or cancel. So you can either retry or you can cancel. So if I say retry, again I go back here and say escape and come out. That is also possible, right? So this was what you can do with your data validations as far as the employee name is concerned. So you can select this, go to data validations, and then you can look at this. Now there's one more option which you say warning or information. In that case, what happens? If you enter the value and you say enter, it says that invalid employee name. Want to continue? So here it doesn't say retry and cancel, right? It says want to continue. You say yes. It allows you to enter these 2 values. Since this is just an information, it is not a stop sign. So stop sign will force you to enter valid data, whereas information will just warn you. And if you still want to enter that data, go ahead. Okay. So in the next video, we'll see the other validations and how to do those validations.